What's going on, you guys? It's Ask Cat bringing you guys into the video, and in today's video, you guys have been asking for it, so ask and you shall receive. We are jumping back into the World War II guides for you guys today. I would like to point out, first things first, beggars can't be choosers. Don't ask and then complain. We are jumping to DLC4. And if you guys are longtime viewers, and you guys have been like wanting me to come back to, you know, the World War II guides and whatnot, last time you guys saw me, I was covering the Final Reich. So you guys might be wondering why we're jumping past 1, 2, and 3 in terms of DLCs and jumping right into DLC4 with the Frozen Dawn. Point 1. It's the most solo accessible map in this game, in my personal opinion. There are a few points during this Easter egg where it feels like, yeah, this is definitely not geared towards the solo player, but it's still manageable to do those steps. Like, you don't actually need extra players in order to get past a particular step, like certain maps. Looking at you, Shadows of Evil, the last step of that Easter egg, that irritates the hell out of me. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into the Frozen Dawn guides for you guys, and I'm gonna be formatting this kind of like I did with the Frozen Dawns, or the Final Reich series, sorry. I'm gonna have my face cam off. Let me know if you guys would rather I have it on, but I'm gonna be taking it off and just doing the commentary kind of like I was doing before, and then we're also gonna be doing it kind of like individual videos, and then we'll do the combined videos like I was doing previously. So in terms of the Frozen Dawn, it's pretty much just, you know, a quest of getting melee weapons and upgrading those melee weapons. You place them down, you go into a boss fight. We're gonna make individual videos on those base melee weapons, combine those in a separate video, and then we'll do that same thing for the upgraded variants. We'll do the separate videos, and then we'll do a combined one. The only other things I can really cover in that map before we get into boss fight at that point, an individual boss fight video, breaking down the individual phases and exactly how those phases work, because there are a bunch of things in that boss fight that just people don't talk about, or you have to scavenge like live streams or things like that to even find information on that without playing this boss fight multiple times, which the first few times in, it feels very, very unforgiving. But once you understand it, it's not bad. But yeah, figuring those things out is definitely frustrating. So I'd like to go ahead and break down that boss fight, get it an actual boss fight guide video out, and break down each phase of that boss fight. On top of that, we'll probably cover perk locations, armor machine locations, side Easter eggs, because there's a bunch of side Easter eggs that I want to actually go ahead and talk about here in a second on this map. And then we'll probably do Pack-a-Punch, if I didn't say that, because there is no power guide. There is no like power source necessarily. It is technically a single button, but it's tied into like the new zombie type and Pack-a-Punch, turning it on and off. That will make sense later when I go into explaining it if you don't understand that now. But yeah, other than that, the side Easter eggs, there's plenty of side Easter eggs on this map that I can make a bunch of individual videos on. There's Easter eggs that are definitely what we perceive to be solved. Easter eggs that have been uncovered, but we don't know if they're finished or not, like in terms of if there could be more to them. And then there's also, according to other people, I don't data mine, I don't get into the code or any sort of thing like that. I'm kind of against that sort of thing in my personal opinion. I do think that there's straight up some things that we would have never found as a community in terms of like other zombies games and things like that. I think there's straight up other things we would have never found if there weren't data miners, but that's for another time, another setting. Anyways, I'm kind of against that. I don't do that, but there are people that have been doing that. I've seen a few people get into the code, and apparently there's a few Easter eggs still unsolved, like not even uncovered at all on this map within the code. But yeah, that kind of goes into like the potentially solved but like unsolved Easter eggs as well, and then the various side Easter eggs that actually have been solved. So I think this map is very interesting, has a lot of replayability, and then after that we'll get into like some speculation lore theory videos. I think that would be interesting as well, because I do think there's a lot of ties directly back into the Final Reich, honestly. And once we do the exploring around the map, you get familiar with the map and that sort of thing, you'll kind of see where I'm coming from. And I'll definitely be bringing up some things that I've heard talked about by Cameron Dayton himself in live streams and things like that, that are specifically geared about this map. And I think they just ring truer than ever, like if you really think about it, and that you can tie some of those things back into the Final Reich as well. And it really just gets you thinking, especially about in the boss fight after you take out the boss and he says his final quote. There's something like the cycle continues, basically, just in short, the cycle continues. So it makes you think all the way back to the Final Reich into like when the cycle started, essentially, for us anyways. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Like maybe there's things to go back and do on the Final Reich, or maybe it implies just the other maps in general, like go back and do other things within the other maps. It definitely gets your mind thinking, and in my personal opinion, the Final Reich and the Frozen Dawn are the best at doing that. I think their Easter eggs, along with the aesthetic and the layout of these maps, mesh so well, and it just, again, it gets your mind thinking in a way that, at least for me, the other maps don't do. I still like the other maps to an extent, like, I don't know Darkest Shore. I don't know Darkest Shore, bro. I know that map. I can do the Easter egg and whatnot. Not consistently. I remember all the steps, of course, that sort of thing. But getting through, that's another thing. And same with the Shadowed Throne boss fight in particular. That boss fight is a bitch for whatever reason. I can just never get through that boss fight. That's kind of why we're jumping into the Frozen Dawn first. I will eventually be wrapping into these other maps and covering, you know, what I can, and then it'll kind of go a little bit slower than these are going to go, where I'm able to comfortably get through these. But yeah, things like the Darkest Shore and the Shadowed Throne are definitely going to take a little bit of time when I get up to that point, when it's getting into the harder stuff for me personally. The Darkest Shore and I would say the later maps of the Tortured Path are definitely a pain in the ass for me personally. They are, it's a skill issue. In short, it's a skill issue. But anyways, we're gonna get right into it. I'll end off this video, get this uploaded, and we will jump right into the guides for you guys within the Frozen Dawn. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening to me ramble for a minute, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.